So, Rob, obviously you've got a big game coming up on Saturday, and with the final push to go, packed run of fixtures, obviously with Tuesday games and Saturday games. Obviously, it's the final push of the season for the playoffs. How would you prepare, and what's the mentality going into each game?
It's obviously we prepare for each game. I would naturally would, we read the opposition, we go over what we want to do. We try and concentrate on us more than anything because we can get better and better every week. But we also try and identify what the opposition's strengths are, what their weaknesses are. But this week, this is the last time we're going to have a whole game a week from Saturday to Saturday. So we've used it. We did like an in-house game yesterday, and we had a bit of a lighter day today just to give the lads as much freshness as possible. So going into so it's going to be a really tough schedule for us now with the amount of games, making sure, fingers crossed, we've got as little injuries as possible and the lads feel as fresh as they can.
Yeah, and obviously Mike and Bust had left for MK Dons mid-season. Obviously you coming in, it was obviously sitting in the playoffs, having to come in. How tough was that with the pressure of it? Because obviously every team in the league is very competitive, every game. So how was that? Obviously it's your first manager job. So how was that?
Yeah, it was interesting. Obviously it was sad to see the guys go because they're the reason I come in. But yeah, I thought it was important that myself, Louis, and Mags, that we continued what they were doing. And to carry the club going forward in terms of what's made us really successful at least certainly the last 18, 19 months since I've been here. But yeah, no, it was difficult. I think obviously I probably fell into the trap of trying to continue Mike and Busty's structure fully in what they did. But ultimately the reason it worked so well is because it was theirs and that's what they believed in and worked so hard to build. Obviously I believed in it equally as much because that was why I come in. I used to love watching us play. But I think it was after the Oval game there was a clear decision from myself and Louis to sort of implement a few changes that we felt would help us get through this period. And obviously you're always going to have a little bit of a long period when two guys who sort of, and Belly as well, taking the club to from where it was where they didn't even have a player to National League and Wembley and whatnot. So yeah, wanted to just make sure that we could continue that in the best way possible. But obviously things move on, so you have to put your own identity in, and the players have to understand that moving forward that things might be slightly different, but you have to show them in training and with meetings etc that there's a reason for it, and hopefully they bought in, and which they did fantastically well. And we're still 5-6 months later still in the playoffs and one game from Wembley, so it's a testament to everyone at the club, both previously and now, that we've managed to continue that.
And how did you find out that you were being offered to be obviously coming in as manager? How did you find all about that?
So I was actually away. I was away for a break, and then Mike rang us and said about him going to MK Dons. I sort of found out on the Saturday that a few clubs were seriously interested before in the cup game, I think it was. And then it just sort of come really, really quickly out of the blue. I think it was a day or two later. And then obviously spoke to Neil, and I sort of spoke about it. And I said, look, I want to do it, and I want to make sure make sure we don't lose out on what we're doing, because that was my biggest fear, is that things would change from the sort of process that's happened the last like I said, the last 18, 19 months since I've been here. And I think that was the most important thing for me, is that there was a consistency. The lads knew that the consistency would be there, and that we'd carry on trying to develop in the best way we can.
And obviously you've done it, just saying, coming in mid-season, you've done an absolutely amazing job maintaining it in the playoffs. So you have a cup semi-final as well, 90 minutes away from Wembley. Obviously that's what we've done last year, so it's 2 years in a row, and it means a lot of the fans and obviously you as well. So how do you approach that semi-final coming up?
Do you know what? It's a real tough one, because Macclesfield is sort of a bit of a they're in a false position in my opinion, because the squad they've got is a fantastic squad. They've got a big budget and they're full time, so they train full time. They're obviously in a difficult league, so the home form is brilliant. They play good football as well. They've got a lot of experienced people there behind the scenes, and obviously the manager and the coaches. So we know it's going to be a really tough game. I think it's going to be a brilliant game in terms, I'm sure they'll have a big following, and obviously a cup game, anything can happen. So we just need to make sure that we stick to what's got us to this point, and that we approach the game with the right mentality, and back that if we play well and we do the right things, then like we do every week, hopefully that will lead to us getting the result that we want. And fingers crossed, another good day out for the club. But definitely not taking anything past the game, because Macclesfield will be very, very good. and it's going to be a really, really tough game, probably our toughest one. Hence why they are where they are. They're in the semi-finals for a reason. They're a massive club, and they're going to be back in the Football League at some point. We'll be playing them in the league at some point, whatever league that may be in. So it'd be a good occasion for everyone. I think it'll be a really good day.
Yeah, and obviously taking it back to your days at Newcastle, what was your favourite moment, obviously playing for Newcastle?
It's really hard to sort of describe the favourite moment, but walking out of St James's was always quite special when the crowd was going and 52,000 people there, and it's sort of something that now it seems like so long ago because it probably was, but it's quite a special thing, and it's something I always remember looking up, seeing my family, especially when the kids were there as well, and just sort of thinking, sometimes a bit of disbelief that I was there, but also just feeling really proud and making sure that I tried to enjoy every moment of it, because it's a very special place and club to play for, and it was something that I never took for granted. So just fond memories of walking out St James's, and obviously the people that I met, and the way the fans took to us was truly special. Hence why I'm sort of still in the North East all these years later.
And obviously in January, a lot of the squad changed a lot, and players getting recalled. Obviously you had to deal with that mid-season, having to recruit for some new players. Obviously the new boys came in. How did they settle in?
Yeah, they settled really well. We obviously had that difficult period before the Chesterfield game where we had sort of 8-9 players a couple of days before the game. We had to recall lads off loan. We had to sign a few new faces, and it was tough. It was a lot of work, and it was disappointing in one sense because we felt like we were building a really good momentum and everything, and the players. But obviously, you're a victim of your own success sometimes. That you do well, you develop players, and then they move on, and that's football. But we just worked really hard to bring players in who we feel are going to add either more quality or different qualities, and be able to keep the run going, the momentum going. And I think the big thing for me was that the type of people we brought in were the people that would buy into what we're doing, and they have. And I think they're still getting there. They're still getting better each week, and every single person that's come in has really contributed, and that's all you can ask. And I think that's the most pleasing thing for me, that everyone who's come in has had a real positive impact to the squad and the team, and that's what we're going to need to the rest of the season. There hasn't been one person that I can say hasn't gone above and beyond and performed well. So really pleased with the additions, and I think there's a lot more to come from a lot of them as well.
And at the start of the season, there was new style play introduced, playing out from the back, I'm guessing. It grabbed attention quite quickly. It was very effective in the team, and when Mike and Buss had left, you carried that sort of tactic on. So what was your thoughts behind that, to carry that on?
Well, I think it's just a style of play that we just completely believe in the fact that we want to dictate our philosophy and the game in our own way. So we're not saying that we won't go longer or we won't try and put the ball behind. If you've got Marcus's pace or Deja or Kane or whatever. But ultimately, if you have control of the football, then you're dictating the pace of the game. Now, there will be times where that doesn't work and you can see the goal. But the reason we've had such success is because we've really bought into that narrative, and we've taken it on from Mike and Ian. We're always trying to adapt and evolve it, because teams will see how you play, they'll set up to stop you. So you have to be able to adapt and evolve and not get caught doing the same thing. But sometimes don't not hear the groans sometimes from the fans, which is understandable. But ultimately, I really hope over the course of a season, if you take one isolated incident away, or maybe one half a bad performance, or what it might be, is that some of the football the lads have played has been absolutely terrific, and the bravery they play with. And I think for me, it's just a real pleasure to watch, and I really enjoy watching it. Seeing these young lads doing things sometimes that you don't see at levels that are higher. And I think it's something that we're always going to buy into, and that won't change while we're here. We'll just make sure that we get better at it and we develop even more, so that every single time we come up against a team who give us a problem, we can find a solution. And we always talk about having the power in our own hands, so that when and if we lose on our terms. And that's really important, because if you want to develop a team to become competitive at the highest level in the league, and even beyond that, you need to be able to review and get better every week. And ultimately, in my opinion, the only way you can do that is by winning and losing on your own terms. Accepting that you might get it wrong one week, but for the next three it'll get better, and so on and so forth. You can't win every week, unfortunately, as much as we'd all love that as footballers and supporters and whatnot, but as long as you're consistently trying to improve, that's all you can ask.
Like in January when we had to recruit all these players in such like a small amount of time, you had to bring in the right players. So like Eddie, good with his feet, it's the type of goalkeeper that we need for this type of play. How stressful was that having to find all these players?
It was very. I'm not going to lie, it was very stressful. Long nights, lots of conversations on the phone. Ultimately, we was put in a situation we didn't expect to be in. To be honest with you, we didn't really know we was going to lose. We thought we might lose Werney for obvious reasons, but we didn't expect to lose Archie, Billy, Lofty, etc. So trying to replace 3, 4, 5 players. Obviously that coincided with Ed with fracturing his skull. So Greg obviously being out injured. So we didn't expect to be in that situation. But do you know what it is? That's part of coaching, it's part of management, is that you have to be able to adapt to situations and you have to find solutions. And ultimately, we had a tough night against Chesterfield, but statistically we were quite happy because these lads went in with very little preparation for the game. We still had 50% possession with Chesterfield. Now, ultimately they punished us, and rightly so, because they're a top team. But them signs were really pleasing for me because it showed that even with limited information, the players that we brought in were still able to do what we wanted. And then the Dorking game, obviously the sending off was a reflection of the game. So lose 1-0 Dorking down to 10 men for 70 minutes probably helped in a way because it made it seem like we was in a worse position than we were, and it gave us a bit of extra time to sort of give lads training and whatnot, to the point where we were on a good run, started getting the points on the board against Barnet, Southend. And I think in that period what was good, we had to learn how to win differently. We had to learn how to grind out results and defend and make sure that we win the first and second balls, and it wasn't always as clean as we wanted it to be because players are trying to get the concepts. So I think what we've definitely added as a group is a real stern mentality, and I think you saw that Saturday in the fact that down to 10 men for 80 minutes, 90 minutes, and going in at half time winning 2-1, and in my opinion it's only decisions that change the game in terms of the penalty. But the box and the commitment from the lads was incredible. So I think that's something that we've really added to the group in terms of that mentality to want to dig out and win and do the things that maybe you don't get the plaudits for, but get you over the line at the end of the game.
And obviously Eddie Beach coming in, was that Carl who got in touch? Yeah.
So Carl, obviously with his Chelsea connections, we spoke to Ross Turnbull and mentioned Eddie. And spoke to Ben Roberts, who's the head of goalkeeper at Chelsea, who I've worked with previously. He was my goalie coach at Charlton, and Eddie's an infectious character. He's a brilliant lad. He's one of the hardest working goalkeepers I've seen. He's been brilliant for the group, and then so it was one of the ones where we, it's sort of a no-brainer to bring him in, and he done fantastically well in the games. And then unfortunately he got ill, got glandular fever, and now he's come back and he's gone away on international duty to Wales, which is brilliant for him, but obviously we missed out on him. So we just obviously had to bring Monty in to cover us for that month, and just need to make sure that we never left ourselves short, and to be able to bring Monty's experience back, and his calmness and levels was fantastic. And we've been very fortunate over the years with the goalkeepers we've had, so hopefully that will continue.
And obviously there's been a few international teams. Obviously Eddie, you've got Francis Brown. Obviously that just goes to prove how well they've been doing. What's that attitude like with all the players at the minute?
In terms of the way they're approaching the games?
Yeah,
it's been really good, and I think what's nice is that individuals are getting plaudits for what they're doing. So DeJohn getting called up, and Ed Wheeler getting Player of the Month. But like I highlighted, is it really shows that, for me, if the group does well, then individuals will start doing well. And it really highlights the pack mentality and the fact that, when a team or a club is successful, everyone's successful. Whether you've played every single minute or whether you've maybe not played as many minutes as you expect, or even sometimes not played, everyone can play a pivotal role. And I think that's the best thing, is that, and then the one sort of non-negotiable here is you have to buy into what we're trying to do, and you have to be a good person and want to do it for the right reasons. And the lads are definitely that in abundance, and just need to make sure that we stay on track and we work hard, and we need to attack this end of the season and have no fear. So wherever we end up getting to Wembley, getting in the playoffs or not, believe it or not, I'm not too fussed as long as we do it in the right way, because I know if we approach the games in the right way, with the right mentality, with the right attitude, then we will get to where we want to be. But you have to do that one before you get the results, in my opinion.
And back in pre-season, I spoke to Greg and AC before he left for Crawley. They said right from the start that the attitude in the dressing room was all about like winning promotion. Has that stuck even through all like the lows with Mike leaving? Has that stayed?
Yeah, definitely. I think that sometimes you have to remind yourself why you've come and what you've done, and the position that we put ourselves in. And the big thing for me is with the club's resources and obviously the fact that everyone has to go above and beyond for the cause. I think the lads have to realise that they're overachieving already, in one sense, but on the other sense is that they need to have that real belief that they're where they are for a reason and they deserve to be there. And we just need to reinforce that and make sure that going forward that when we walk off the pitch after every game or the last kick of the season, whenever the last kick of the season is, that everyone look in the mirror and say, do you know what, whether we're good enough or not, that we give everything, we try to do the right things, we try to get better, because that only means the next season will be even better again. So it's just trying not to get too high and too low, just trying to stay consistent and keep hitting the targets every single week and every single game.
And obviously there's been a lot of injuries this season with Greg, trying to think, Tommy, Ed Boots with his back. Yeah, we've had Wheelo at the start. No, we have. Do you know what? We've been unlucky. A lot of them have been impact injuries, which is unfortunate when that's football. It's a physical game. It's a contact sport, and it's parts of the football. So that has to be managed, and again, making sure we've got enough cover. And there's times we only had one or two on the bench. But that's fine. Some of the lads like Ollie Thompson, Will Constantine have stepped up brilliantly well when they've come in, and it's been brilliant for their development. And we need to make sure that we are, we're still looking to bring through players who are out on loan. It's Aidan Rutledge or the likes of Will, the likes of Ollie. Obviously, Ollie's took a whack when he played for Blythe the other week, so he's hopefully back to fitness soon. But the injuries are part and parcel of football, and it's how you react to it as a squad. And I think what's been good is that the way we work, the way we train, the way we play, because we work on it and we make sure that we're consistent with it. When the squad does have to change, or the team has to change, when players come in, they have more of an understanding of what's expected. So, which has been a big help. And I went to Blythe last night. I thought Ollie was going to be playing, so I messaged him. He said he's back for next weekend. So
fingers crossed, yeah. Fingers crossed he's back on the grass running, so he'll be back. He just took a whack to the ankle, which again happens in football. But no, he's had a bright start at Blythe. He's done well when he's played, and he's someone we're excited for in the future, because he's a great kid, and he's got a lot of potential. But we just need to make sure we manage it in the right way.
And bringing players in terms of that, how would you find the right players to bring into the club?
I think because we have a certain style of the way we play. We have certain things markers that we want to hit. So technical detail. Are they brave? Do they want to receive the ball even under high pressured situations? So a defender, is he willing to get the ball off the goalkeeper even with a striker close to play around him? A goalkeeper, is he looking to try and find a pass, or is he looking to go longer? And then probably in the wide areas and the attacking areas in the midfield is, do they understand the pattern of the game, and are they understanding the concept of the game? And there's loads of different things that go into it. Sometimes you get a feeling about someone. Sometimes you get a feeling, you look at someone, you think, yeah, they're going to be really impactful. Other times you have to really do the hours and make sure you see what you want to see. So if you specifically want a midfielder or a winger or a striker, and you know what type you want, because it might mean that it's replacing something that you feel is like for like because it's successful, or you might be thinking you want a different dimension. You might want a bit more power, a bit more pace, or someone who's a bit more tricky, or whatever it might be. It's just really honing in on that, and then doing the work. You can't get away from doing the work. You have to watch games, you have to watch minutes and clips. You have to speak to people if you know in the game. There's someone who you know of that you can speak to and get their advice and get their eyes on. So there's lots of areas that come into it. Something I really enjoy, the recruitment is something I'm quite proud of since I've come in. In terms of our recruitment, especially like I said with the resources we have, and what I'm quite proud of it now is that not every player we'd like, but a lot of players, we do get offered players that maybe want to come to us because of the style of play, and then that's a real huge compliment to everyone at the club, because sometimes at one point it was quite tough to get players to come to the northeast and to move far away, and obviously with resources and stuff it's not always the easiest sell, but now it's getting to the point where we can start to hopefully attract better players and help strengthen the squad and help the team and help the club grow.
And the fixtures are very packed. You've got Saturday, Tuesday and everything. This weekend, Altrincham, I think they're the team above us, one place.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a very big game. It could be season defining. How do you approach that game, and there's injuries wise, team news?
I think in terms of approaching the game, we don't approach it any different to any other. I think understandably it can be seen as if we don't win against Waterloo then we're not going to get in the playoffs, but there's still, I think we've got 9 games left, is that right? 8 games left? 8? 8, yeah. So I think including the cup game, but still a lot of points to play for, and there's still going to be ups and downs. Yes, it'd be lovely if we win the next 8 in a row, because I think if we win the next 8 in a row, then we know we're going to be finishing where we want it. But the reality is that we're playing against a lot of teams in and around us, a lot of very good teams, and that we have to accept that as long as we're consistent, we hit the levels we want to, and the performances are there, then in my opinion the results will come. So Altrincham Saturday is like no other. We go there with the mentality of playing against a very, very good team, especially at home. They score a lot of goals. They've got a lot of very good individual players, and they play good football similar to us. The manager has done a really, really good job with Altrincham, fantastic job. So we know we're going there, and we just want to go and enjoy the game and back ourselves to go and implement what we do, and have that mentality of going away from home and trying to get a result. And then once that's finished, we'll recover, we'll reflect, we'll work out how to get better, and then we'll move on to Hartlepool, and then so on and so forth. So the situation hasn't changed loads in terms of the stand in the league. It's just more about the mentality to approach the game. As long as we're fully focused on Altrincham, we'll be fine.
And earlier this season against Altrincham, it was a 2-0 loss. So is there any little changes, or does it all stay the same as last game, which was?
Well, I think we talked about this today, because obviously I think that was one of Mike and Busty's last games.
Last National League game.
Last National League game, yeah. So obviously we do play slightly differently. Obviously there's a lot of similarities, but Altrincham have evolved since then as well. So they won't be exactly the same as they were, and they're in good form at the moment. They're playing well, and so are we. Obviously Saturday was sort of the result is what it is after being down to 10 men for so long, but. No, it's going to be a tough game, and it's going to be a good game, and we just need to make sure that we give the lads the best opportunity they can with as much information about Altrincham to win the game, and that's all you can really do. And obviously they'll be doing the same, and they'll have their solutions for what we do as well. We need to make sure that ultimately we can bypass them, and our structure sort of gets us through that. And but I think ultimately what I'm looking forward to is hopefully a really good game of football. I like playing against Altrincham, I like playing against the likes of Solihull and stuff, because I think they're really good games. They're really good adverts for the National League, with managers who are introducing really good football and giving young players and exciting players a chance. So hopefully it'll be a good occasion and we can come out on top.
And there's, with the players developing, coming in on loan, like Kieran Evans from Cardiff, you've got Dwayne from Derby. How have they developed? Obviously, coming in, they have to develop better to go back to that parent club to get a spot in that team. So, how important has it been to develop them better?
Well, I think that's part of, we always have to rely on the loan system because of resources and stuff. And it's been really successful in the past, like Camille Conter, Ethan Pye, who've come in and done brilliantly, Phil Marshall. And I think, with Evo and Dijon, slightly different in the fact Evo played pretty much a full season for Torquay last year. He got injured, so he hadn't featured for Cardiff as much. Played a couple of cup games. So Evo's someone I've liked for a long time. I thought he was a fantastic player, and when we had the opportunity to bring him in, it was sort of a no-brainer in the fact that we'd lost Werney, so we didn't have a number 10. In the fact that we had Connor and Werney who were working really well together. And we didn't have that backup in case we ideally want 2 players in every attacking position. and someone, or at least 2 players that can fill the position. So Evo come in and he's been brilliant, you know, as has everyone. I think he's obviously got things he's got to work on to progress at Cardiff, and playing games and doing that is a good way for him to do that. And yeah, there's things that, you know, we speak about that he needs to do better. There's things that he does brilliantly well, and I think he's been a really good addition. And then Dijon is very, very young despite his physicality and his size. It's incredible the level he's playing at, what he's doing at the moment, and that's why we've had to be so patient with him, because, you know, we still need to remember he's only 18 years old, and because he's played games and scored goals, that isn't going to change. It still means that as a young player, you know, tiredness, physicality, mentality, you know, he's got it in abundance. Dijon can be anything he wants to be, and I'm really, like I said before, I'm really excited to see how he gets on. But ultimately, we've got to do what's right by him and make sure that when he plays, when he doesn't, or whatever the scenario it is, that we're doing the right thing by him. And ultimately, I think since he's come in, his games have developed, and now he's getting his goals and he's getting more minutes, etc. So yeah, we'll always continue to do what's right by the person, even if it is to the detriment of the team sometimes, because you always put the person first. But hopefully it means down the line clubs will be more inclined to lend us their best young players, and so on and so forth.
And with injuries coming back now, it's like, in terms of picking a team, obviously you can't have everyone on the bench. You've got to choose a team of the bench and leave some players out. So how hard is that, and the competition for this squad?
Yeah, the competition is fantastic. Obviously Greg Ollie's back now, which is good. Robbie Tinkler's back, which is fantastic. But it's really hard, one of the hardest things to do, especially because I know these lads reasonably well from how long I've been here. It's really hard to leave lads out of either the team or the squad. You know, that's part of football, and I think as long as you have good reasons why, and you try and explain to the lads what your decisions are, then I think they'll respect the fact that it's coming from the right place. But ultimately, to be honest with you, the reason we need a big squad is because, yeah, we've got so many games coming up. I think I'm right in saying we've got 4 games in a 9-day period for the Easter weekend. So I think it's Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday. So, you know, you're practically have to play 2 teams. Now, we might not have enough numbers for that, but we'll do our best to make sure everyone's fresh. So everyone's going to be important, everyone's going to be needed, and yeah, you have to just manage the load, make sure we're not putting people at risk so they get injured, and that we're able to be as competitive as we can through that as well. And
finally, with your time at Gateshead so far, what's been your most memorable moment in terms of like a game or just in general?
My most memorable moment? That's a good question, mate. It's a tough one. I've had lots of good moments in terms of the run last year when we got ourselves away from the relegation was brilliant, because you could just see the start of a transition in the club and the way we played and the players that come in. Obviously managing the club for the first time was quite a proud moment. But I think, yeah, the one thing that sticks out, there's a couple of games that stick out. Our half time at Oldham, you know, we was fantastic away to Oldham. It was 1-0 down, and yeah, sort of just when we were speaking to the lads, and I can remember just talking to the lads about what we wanted to see in the half time and whatnot, and just seeing that there was a genuine belief in the lads in terms of that we'd go out and win the game. And then after Southend away as well, you know, obviously Southend should be in the playoffs without the deduction that they've had, and obviously the restrictions they've had this year. They're an unbelievable team. I really like the way they play. I think the manager's very, very good. So to go to Southend and win and keep a clean sheet, you know, was another memorable moment in terms of like that was a moment where, you know, our quality won us the game, but then our mentalities won us the points, if that makes sense. So it was that nice blend there, and yeah, it's just moments that you see with individuals. You know, when you see individuals either, you know, do something special that you brought them in for, or you see them doing something that you try to get them to work on, and that reward, them little mini rewards are huge, because you think like, well, actually, it does give you hope you're doing the right thing and that you're trying to do the right thing by the lads. And yeah, the big thing for me is I just enjoy coming to work every day, and I enjoy spending time with the players that are here and the people that are here, and I think as long as I feel like that, then I'll be happy.
Well, Rob, thanks for sitting down with us. Means a lot. And obviously, going into the rest of the season, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Get the playoffs.
So, man, well done the interview, by the way. Really good. Better than some of the guys I've had to deal with over the years. So, very good. Keep it going.